The hospital has no record of you staying overnight.
Well, that's because I gave them a false name.
A false name?
Look, I don't have health insurance. If you give them a phony name, you don't have to pay for it.
What was the name that you gave them?
I don't remember.
You don't remember.
That's right, I was having an epileptic seizure. Okay, I was in a panic. I don't remember.
But your mind was clear enough not to use your own name.
That's right.
The point is, there is no record, no proof that you actually went to the hospital that night. The night Mr. Karamazov was murdered.
Well, I was. Ask the EMTs.
There's no doubt that you were taken to the hospital. Just no proof that you spent the night there. Or for that matter, that your seizure was genuine.
Sonia and Dmitri picked me up the next day.
They met you in the lobby. You could have just met them there yourself.
Prove it.
The night of your seizure, you were with Sonia and Katerina.
Yes. They'll tell you that my seizure was real.
Did you talk to Fyodor that night?
No.
You didn't call him? Not on Katerina's cell phone? Or have her call him for you?
No, why would I?
To make sure he was home.
So that I could sneak out, okay? Sneak out of the hospital, go see him, murder him, and then sneak back to the hospital for Sonia and Dmitri to pick me up the next day? Why are you harassing me? I mean, I can only suspect that. I can only guess that you think I'm your that I'm your suspect.
In fact, you're not. We're taking a suspect into custody. We're questioning everyone, checking everyone's story to make sure. But so far, everyone seems to be contradicting each other.
You've arrested someone? Who?
We're holding him on a related charge, but the evidence points to Gregory, the man who worked in the building, the man who found your father's body.
Gregory the janitor. Really? What evidence? What evidence do you have against him?
Bank records show that your father withdrew $5,000 3 days before he was murdered. Gregory had deposited that exact amount 2 days after the murder into his own bank account.
That's just circumstantial. It could be a complete coincidence.
$5,000 is a lot of money to somebody like Gregory. That's his salary for 3 months. He also had a previous felony conviction.
Let me tell you something. I've never met this man, and I've probably seen him around in the building without really knowing who he is, but I can assure you that he didn't do it.
Your father's body was found in the bathtub. The skull had been fractured in 3 places. In the hallway leading to the bathroom, we found an empty bank envelope. There was a smudge of blood on it. Gregory murdered your father Thursday night, probably just to rob him. Then he went to work the next day as if nothing had happened. It may sound unusual, but it's not. They think by not running that no one will suspect them.
You know, your theory is just all well and good. But let me assure you, he didn't do it.
Why are you so sure it wasn't him?
Because it's too simple. It's too easy. Listen, I know that I'm not very old, but I've led a very difficult life thus far. You know, sometimes the world isn't such a great place after all. You know that? And they don't teach children about it. What they do is they teach children, they fill the heads of children with these ideas and notions that, I mean, it's unbelievable that we even survive from generation to generation at all.
What do you mean?
We teach children that they should love each other and that we're all brothers and sisters. We teach children that we should try and live by the golden rule. We should treat others the way that we want ourselves to be treated. We teach them to turn the other cheek, and that 2 wrongs don't make a right, and that might doesn't make right. We teach them forgiveness and gratitude and gentleness. That happiness is the most important thing, and that greed and lust are vices, and that we are accountable for our actions. and that the world repays us for virtue and honesty, and that good is repaid with good and evil is repaid with evil. Let me tell you something. I've struggled with this my whole life. I have banged my head against innumerable walls trying to find out the truth that is self-evident, that all these beautiful ideas and poetic notions of life, they're all lies. They're all a bunch of lies. Lies that we tell ourselves just so that we could sleep at night. Lies that we tell ourselves so that we can forget that we're actually just a bunch of animals. And that the world doesn't repay you for honesty and virtue. And that everything is accepted in the world unless you get caught. And the only thing that matters is the need for survival. And if your survival depends on the demolition and exploitation and destruction of others, then so be it. I mean, that's what we should be teaching children right from the beginning. Teach them about this anarchy.
I had no idea you were such a philosopher. And how does all of this pertain to the janitor's innocence or guilt?
Listen, a crime was committed, and it's your job to arrest someone. So you arrest someone, the most obvious suspect. I mean, it's your job also to persuade society of this myth of justice and retribution, but you're not interested in that. You're interested in finger pointing and scapegoats. The only crime that Gregory the janitor committed was that he was catchable. Yeah, you're like the fisherman that lets the big fish get away and keeps the small fish.
And you then? Are you perhaps a big fish?
It's your job to find out. But since you've got your man, I guess you're satisfied. Maybe you're right. Maybe Gregory did murder my father. Maybe it's just a robbery, plain and simple.
It does appear so. At the present, unless we find it reasonable to suspect someone else.
Don't be cute. You have reason to suspect all of us. We all had plenty to gain from my father's death. No one more than I suppose. But you're happy with your janitor. It's all clean and tidy. I guess you'll just move on now, on to the next case.
Where are you staying now?
Well, since you've sealed off Fyodor's apartment, I've been sleeping at Katerina and Sonia's.
Really?
On the couch.
It's not my concern.
If you wanted to know, I told you.
We're done with the apartment. You can move back in tomorrow.
It doesn't really matter. I'm comfortable where I am. On the couch.
Something wrong with the apartment? You're not superstitious.
No. Look at me. Do I look superstitious to you? The fact of the matter is, I live there to be closer to my father and to get to know him. And now that he's dead, there's really no reason for me to be there.